Wonderful. Today, as you might have noticed, the topic is advertising, and I want to be totally upfront in the beginning of this call and say there's some innovative things that'll be in this as far as jogging imagination and challenging some old conservative thoughts. And I'll just say to you in advance, keep an open mind. I hope that today's call does challenge the way you think a little bit and look at advertising in some unique ways. But there are many types of advertising. The typical dealership spends well into six figures for advertising on an annual basis. Interesting, when I go around and look at literally thousands of statements over the years, financial statements from dealerships, I see some things in there that are interesting. First of all, generally the advertising, even if it's split amongst every department, the advertising generally focuses on sales department, new and used cars. If you look at the Sunday ads and the radio spots or local TV spots, very seldom do you see any dealerships that are working hard to promote the service or parts department. Again, it's focused in on the sales, yet the costs of that advertising split amongst all of the departments at times. Some dealerships don't do that. Others say, well, there are benefits from it too, so let's do it. But one of the things that I always looked at when I was spending dealership advertising dollars, or if I'm recommending different advertising concepts, I challenge them first to look at the cost per impression. If you let's say you take an advertisement and you evaluate the newspaper, might have a circulation of 50,000. The cost of the ad might be $1,000 for a promotion on a low-cost oil change. So let's dive into that and say, well, if we've got 50,000 and it's 1,000, that's 5 cents per impression. And then you ask yourself, that's 5 cents for a potential impression. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to read the sports section or whatever section you choose in the newspaper to place your ad. So if you look at it and say, well, a lot of people won't even read the paper. A lot of people will use it as birdcage material the next morning. And that's the total benefit of the ad. You might also say, people are going to read it. They're going to maybe out of that 50,000, might get 5,000 that read it. But how many of those 5,000 will read the ad and say, well, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this? Can't tell you how many times I've talked to dealers that have spent, oh, we're slow, we're going to blow out several $1,000s in newspaper ads so we can build our business up on a low-cost labor op. And they go, well, how many did we get? We didn't get 2 people. We didn't even get 2 people. We only had 1 response from that ad. Well, if you say, all right, we got an oil change out of it, or you may have got 10 oil changes out of it. If you just spent $1,000 for the advertising, that's not real effective. And for sure, I don't think you're going to be in a situation where you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you hear an ad on the radio. Now at Billy Bob Chevrolet, only $19.95 for an oil change, up to 5 quarts of oil, standard filter, mini models excluded. You're not going to be driving down the road, hear that, and say, wow, I'm going to call them right now and take advantage of that spot. So we get into the mailers, and we look at the mailers, and we go, oh, well, we're going to blow out 5,000 mailers, cost of $2,000, and we're going to have 5 different labor ops on it. And they track it, and they tell us how much we benefit from that ad, and they guarantee the results. But what they do is they tag into your DMS, and they look at the total amount of money that these mailers had spent, and they don't have any way to dissect that to say, well, how many of those would have come in anyway? How many of those were regular customers? But they like to tout the fact that, hey, for every dollar you spent with us, my goodness, you got $7 back that they spent with you. So look how great a deal I am. You should spend more money with us. They use that as a validation. But if we looked at the cost per impression and we said, well, how much is that mailer? Well, it's $1.20 for each one, or it's a 90 cents for each little postcard we're sending out. Whatever that cost per impression is, let's just say it's 90 cents. What's the benefit? And if you're like me, you start to evaluate these advertising programs a little differently. I know one of the mailers that I saw not that long ago was sent to 5,000 people, and they said, oh, it made it look like you won an iPad. If your number matches that number, come in and you won an iPad. Pick up your prize, and you go into the dealership, and this person used it as a way to draw in traffic to service. But then the customers came in expecting to pick up what appeared to be their iPad. And they go, oh, well, you didn't win the iPad. If you look at the small print here, you see that it's a prize, and your prize is a $1 discount coupon for your next oil change. Well, that guy's just leaving excited as all get out, isn't he? He's motivated to spend money at the dealership. He's motivated to be a loyal, faithful customer. Or does he feel defrauded? And the slicker we get on these advertising concepts, we really find out we're really being destructive to our customer base. And I want to talk to you about what I think the future is. We've looked at the radio and the local TV spots, and if we're looking at TV and local cable, again, most of the time they do promote sales. But if they do are promoting service, what's the chance of somebody catching that spot on TV saying, wow, I'm going to take advantage of that and call them right now and set up my low-cost oil change or my low-cost tire alignment? And if you sit down and you evaluate the likelihood of all of that, the newspaper, the mailers, the radio, the TV, it really brings into perspective, I hope, what kind of return are you getting on these invested dollars. Now let's look at the challenge, what I consider the future, the best customer retention, which is what we want, right? Customer retention, customer loyalty. And that's what drives the profits. That's what drives the friends and the family coming back. And there's no magic bullet. There's no way to wiggle your nose and make this all happen. But I want to challenge you. So instead of spending the tens of thousands of dollars on these mailers or newspapers or TVs that we question the result on, let's refocus advertising dollars in a unique, creative way. Why not throw Otis Spunkmeyer fresh baked cookies as a way to advertise. So whenever anyone comes in, they smell the fresh aroma of fresh baked cookies, or they have real nice assorted Keurig coffee flavors in their, or they have a real top quality coffee pot that is maintained and managed and clean and fresh. So if the customer does have that, or do you feel that you have vending machines? So if the customer wants a cup of coffee, they can spend money with the vending machine, or a snack, spend money with the vending machine, or a beverage. Have these things available for the customer. Make their experience incredible. And let's view that as advertising promotion dollars. Isn't that going to create more of a buzz, more of a situation where they're talking about? You won't believe this. I was sitting in a waiting room at a dealership getting my oil changed, and Billy Bob Chevrolet brought in pizza at noon. They had fresh donuts for me, assorted fruit cups and yogurt, different juices, orange juice, I had apple juice. Man, they had it all. So I took my little baby in to get an oil change, and they found out baby was crying. They were checking on it. They found out I didn't have enough diapers, or the oil change was taking a little longer than I thought, and they sent out to get diapers for me to make my visit more comfortable. They even got wipes so that I would have the wipes to wipe the baby down. That is what I think we need to be creative on now. That is where I believe the advertising investment. Let's consider it advertising. And I've seen many times a car comes in, the vehicle comes in, and the advisor will argue with the customer about $10. No, tire repairs aren't covered under the warranty. You got a nail in that tire. We're not going to cover you, or we're not going to take care of that in any way. I'm telling you, we ought to be creative enough to say, you know what, I can't submit that under warranty. Tire repairs are not covered under the warranty of your car. But we're going to take care of you because you're a valued customer with us. And we want you to know how much we care. We're not going to do anything but fix the tire for you. And would you like to have a nice fresh muffin while you wait? Or could we take you anywhere? I know we are out of orange juice, but would you like me to send out for some orange juice? This is where I think the creativity of the dealership needs to refocus their energy, to refocus their effort. Put the advertising into perspective for the future and say, we're just going to do everything we can do to spoil our customer that's in the dealership spending money already. What better place to spend and invest to spoil that individual, to let them know, to cater to them? That is where I would say the future should be shifted for our business. Investment in the customer experience will go a lot further than a low-cost oil change in the birdcage. And then let's look at that investment in advertising also. Is the facility staffed right? You're not going to save anything to have one less advisor taking care of the customer. You're not going to save anything to have not enough technicians to service your customer. You're not going to save anything to stop Porter. or shuttle service, and reduce the customer into an old, dingy facility with seats that are 15 years old and hard to sit in and have stains all over them and 10-year-old magazines stacked up in there and vending machines with stale crackers or little, maybe a little local charity with a candy machine that you twist and get 2 peanuts that are 10 years old. This isn't a way to retain our customer. This isn't a way to care for our customer. Let's look at the investment of the customer care as advertising. Let's look at fixing those little things that aren't covered under warranty as advertising dollars. Instead of arguing with them over the $5, $50, or $100, empower your advisor team. Empower your service team to spoil them. Make it a mission. Consider it advertising. And I'll tell you what, the local talk with your customers, for their friends and neighbors, will drive repair order count, customer satisfaction, and customer retention up consistently for the future. And that will bring profitability to your departments. All right, let's open it up for comment. As always, you can push the number 1, and it will raise your hand to our moderator, Mike Sebo. And if, in this case, we're going to also open the phone lines and allow people to make comments immediately. So, Mike, go ahead, open the lines up briefly, and if anyone has a comment, please get involved.
The lines are completely open.
Rob, this is Clayton. Everything that you were saying is very good. And one of the things that I've always looked at when I was in dealerships was something that a lot of people overlook, and that's the restrooms. What can you do to make not only the guy's bathroom but the ladies' bathroom extra special for your guests coming into your dealership? And what I did was I went to Nordstrom's and the Hilton, and I went into their restrooms, and I said, what are they doing? And how are they treating their guests so that they get a wow experience just out of the restroom? So they're going, hey, you know, even the restrooms are nice. So I know these folks must care about my business because they spared nothing from the customer lounge to the service drive to even the restrooms. So I know they value my business. And that's one of the things that I've often talked to guys about is it's great that you're doing the other things, but don't forget the smaller things like looking at the restrooms or looking at the carpet in the customer lounge, you know, to make sure that everything is right on point when your guests walk in.
Oh, that's fantastic comment. And actually, I will tell you that I've gone into many restrooms and travel a lot, and I will stop along the way where I know they have a clean restroom that I verified and do business with them on a consistent basis. And also the same holds true if I go somewhere and their restroom is not clean or well maintained, I will never go back based on that one thing. Very good point. Very good point. Thanks for contributing there. Anyone else have any comments before we go? All right, everybody. Well, I hope you have a wonderful day and you had a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you all next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.